Hello everybody. Today I'll be reading 2 stories from r/NoSleep as per the promise I made in my last video. Due to the content of this video, content warnings for depictions of violence and horror content. With that out of the way, let us begin. Listen, I'm not trying to be dramatic and I am in no way looking for attention. I just need somebody to actually listen. So please, just listen to me and make your judgments at the end. My mom was working the night shift at the hospital, leaving my twin brother William and me alone. It was an unusually warm Friday night in mid-October, so we decided to set up our hammocks in the backyard for the night. Our home is set quite back from the road and the forest. You can't see any of the neighbors, not even their lights. In the backyard there are 3 trees in a perfect triangle where we always hang the hammocks. Mine parallel with the lawn, and William's with the woods. We swung telling each other scary stories before silently drifting off to sleep. I woke up sometime in the middle of the night desperately needing to pee. The cloud cover was so intense that when I held my hands up to my face, I failed to even make an outline. We hadn't brought out flashlights, and I silently cursed myself when I realized my phone was dead. I laid there considering if I should just hold it or stumble my way to the house. I started hearing something strange. It was a soft gurgling noise, like when a clogged sink is slowly draining. I tried to pinpoint the source of the sound, but it seemed to surround me with no point of origin. Then a sudden noise erupted from just inside the forest. It sounded like a tree branch snapping, mixed with the wet fabric being torn. Was there a large animal in the woods devouring its meal? I didn't know. All I knew is that I had to wake up William and we had to go back into the house. As I slowly turned my head in his direction, the clouds chose that moment to part and sent a perfect moonbeam down on my brother, and what I saw will haunt me for the rest of my life. My eyes instantly found his, but there was nothing in my brother's eyes. Then I saw his neck. It was shredded. Flaps of flesh hung down and blood oozed out like a garden fountain that was losing water pressure. His arm hung loosely beside him as though he was reaching out for me. I tried to close my eyes, but I couldn't. As tears began to well up in my eyes, a soft hiss came from just inside the darkness. When I looked above my brother, a creature darker than the darkest night stepped into the moonlight. Every bone was perfectly defined on its paper-thin skin. It twitched, and the moonlight caught the finest hairs. Even though it was hunched over, the creature had to be at least 10 feet tall, and that thing stared at me into my very soul with red slit eyes. I stayed frozen while it studied me. All that was running through my mind was, this couldn't be happening. The creature cocked its head to the side almost in a curious way. Then it grinned at me, revealing a mouth stretched ear to ear with teeth longer than my index finger. Without warning, it shot towards me, but just as fast it changed direction and went at my brother, ripping off his arm and a large section of his torso. Blood flew in all directions, raining crimson on me. It gave a deep, haunting chuckle before turning around and bounding into the woods with the same terrifying speed, just as the cloud cover returned. I screamed then. Honest to God, bloody murder. I twisted and flailed trying to get out of my hammock, and I fell out before standing and running in the direction of the house. I ran out, not being able to see a thing, but I didn't care. I didn't want to see anything. As I ran, my foot caught on something and I smashed into the deck. I felt hot blood run down the side of my face, but I didn't care. After all, I was already red. I pulled myself up and flew through the back door. I locked it, but that wasn't enough. I piled up tables and chairs in front of the door before racing upstairs and cowering in my closet. I finally heard my mom come home from work, and I rushed downstairs hysterically crying. She was on the phone discussing a disturbance in the hospital with some dudes in suits. Mom! She turned to see me barreling into the kitchen, drenched in blood, and her eyes widened. Oh my God, what happened? As she rushed to my side, and I flung my arms around her trying to explain what happened, but all that seemed to come out of my mouth was hammocks. She seemed confused and concerned, but eventually let go of me and went to look outside. She came back moments later saying that everything was fine with my hammock, and I looked at her in shock. Finally, I found some strength and stood up to look at myself. My barricade from the night before was missing, and so was William. My hammock hung all alone, swinging in the breeze as if nothing happened. I stared in complete disbelief. But William! He was there! The creature killed him. Mom stared at me. Gisela, who's William? "28 days. 28 days since I last saw that person? Animal? No, it couldn't have been an animal. I know that for a fact. It was a cold and dark night. Most people were asleep, but everyone was inside their home. I drove around the neighborhood until I saw the house. It was a bit taller than the ones around, but it was wider and longer too. Hopefully I wouldn't need to go upstairs. I parked my van up on the curb, getting my tools from the back onto the lawn in front of the house before walking around the house until I got back to the front. No windows were open or unlocked. I went to the back door. It was one of those sliding doors. I didn't check it when I walked around, so I was pleasantly surprised when it opened. I was now inside the house. The kitchen was to my right, a door to my left, and a hallway in front of me. I turned on my flashlight and peered into the kitchen. There were the kitchen essentials and the drawers and the cupboards, but I don't think someone would hide anything valuable in their kitchen. The door to my left was the bathroom, a bit small but had everything a bathroom would need. I walked down the hallway and checked the small tables along the wall. It felt like I was walking down that hallway for half an hour. I was looking at the walls but never looked down the hallway after I started walking down it. I looked up. I didn't move an inch since I looked away at the ending of the hallway, and I didn't think any of it. I just told myself it was because I was tired. I didn't find anything in the table drawers, but I was in the living room. I looked to my right and walked over to the coffee table in the middle of the room. You could call it our living room, but there wasn't a couch or a TV, just this lone coffee table with a necklace on it. I picked it up, but I had an uneasy feeling as if someone was watching me. I turned around and there was nothing. Nothing was to my left or my right either. The only way was up now. There were 3 doors along the hallway. I checked the first door and it was another bathroom, larger than the last but had the same layout. I walked over to the second door and stopped when I heard a footstep behind me. Again, nothing was there. I turned on my flashlight and tried to open the door. It opened silently and I peered inside. It looked like a game room, a couch facing a TV with game consoles on either side of it, with a bookcase lined with a selection of games. I ignored it and moved to the last door. It opened silently like the last one, and I looked inside. There was a bed with someone sleeping, but something disturbed me. As I looked into the room, it appeared to be a space where it was pitch black. I could see the bed with a person in it, but only on that side of the bed. I could also see a vanity table, but again, only half of it. I looked into the empty space and it turned to look at me. I saw 2 white dots peering at me. It didn't move. It didn't breathe. It didn't seem to react to me other than looking at me. I stepped away from the door and was surprised the person on the bed didn't wake up to the sound of my heartbeat. It felt like it wanted to jump out of my chest and run away from this being. I felt the same way. I walked backwards to the stairs, my legs trembling. It didn't come out of the room, and I got out of the house through the front door, not bothering to close it. I sprinted to my van and yanked the door open, and closed it with the same speed. I took out my key and put it in the ignition. I looked at the house, and it looked the same way as when I got there. A green lawn with a nice front door. Just now that I noticed the engraving was on the front of it, I turned the key and started driving back home. Wait, I didn't close the front door. Thank you for listening. I'm on a bit of a horror crunch, so expect some more scary content from me. Although I do have a video talking about an art subject in the near future. Since only like 4% of you guys are subbed, how about subscribing, as it'll allow you to catch all of my uploads whenever I do upload. I'm streaming on Twitch, so if you want to see me play some video games, yeah, check that out. If you want to see me post art and shitposts, then check out my Tumblr, DeviantArt, Newgrounds, and now Twitter. If you want to see whips of my art and videos, then follow me on Instagram. I've got an AO3 page now, so if you want to see me try my hand at writing, then check that out. And if you want to hang out with me and other cool people, then check out my Discord server. All of this will be linked in the description below. This is TheSoftMink, signing out.